Are we live?
Okay, Saturday night. We're back in America. So it's two crazy Moors. Okay, on with it. Okay, mantra time. The new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers, of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now. Being and becoming the great primordial dragon god sun, Kundalini flames now whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra and all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amenel Dragra, our hidden priestly grandmaster magi dragon god son king and queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god son kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 armies of 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 armies. Now, willing all of the powers, all of the forces, all of the elements, all of the essences, all of the dark matter, dark energy, and ethers ruling the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies within the absolute all into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force, being and becoming an active force and active source of supernal light and energy that we're all using now to unlock and activating all of our higher DNA, returning it all back online within us through the black dot within our first eye, universe B. Now, increasing the vibratory rate of our entire being up higher and higher and higher, phase changing every atom and subatomic particle of matter within our entire beingness back into a new primordial chaos out of order being of higher manus, the master manifester of all reality and beingness, manifesting into our reality and beingness a new and greater mind connected to Atma, the Most High, while pulling in unlimited supernal light and energy from right out of Atma into our higher and lower manus and on down into our physical reality, manifesting it here as all of the substance that we need now to take total control of our reality in this matrix through the knowledge of our and higher lower inner self. As we begin to learn how to magnetically reattaching all of our higher DNA back together again, empowered by the supernal light and energy of Atma, controlled through higher and lower manas, to begin phasing in universe B, the world to come, while phasing out universe A, the world being and becoming destroyed now, by raising the vibratory rate up so high until it begins awakening and igniting all of the divine sparks in this matrix one by one, all going supramental consciousness together, bypassing all of their humanity completely destroying this illusionary matrix at once, being and becoming pure supernal energy, vibrating higher and higher and higher, being and becoming more massive than the sun until we suck the entire sun and solar system into our supernal light and supernal darkness, collapsing this entire space-time continuum into our supernal energy as it continues vibrating faster and faster and faster until it implodes and explode, forming into universe be the world to come on a new earth, expressed in its most grandest grace and beauty in a universe now built on the foundation and fabric of divine love, peace, justice, harmony, and balance, as all of the souls come together to celebrate the great feast and grand festival of the new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, ashe. Okay, crown chakra day libations. Ain the nothingness, ashe. Ain soft, the infinite, ashe. Ain soft aura, the infinite light, ashe. Adam Capman, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancient, the most ancient of days. Arik Anthon, the big face, the primordial Christ, ashe. Absolute emanations, the supernal holy universe manifesting as our holy divine infinite magical names, the cosmic Christ, ashe. The great abyss of Gnosis, the crown of Zerampin, the small face, the indwelling Christ, ashe. Berea, form, creation, and paradise manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical dark archangels and demons within us, ashe. Yetzirah, formation manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical orders of dark angels and demons, ashe. Ashia, the actual physical world in the making, are the universe of action, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical earthly kingdom, ashe. Yeshida, the holy divine infinite magical divine spark, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical divine will, ashe. Heya, our holy divine infinite magical life force, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical desires, ashe. Neshama, our holy divine infinite magical heavenly soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical heavenly thought, ashe. Ruach, our holy divine infinite magical soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical words spoken through us, ashe. Nephish, our holy divine infinite magical earthly soul, manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be, ashe. Kether, the supernal crown, ashe. Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father, ashe. Bana, understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother, ashe. Doth, the great abyss of gnosis, ashe. Hased, mercy, ashe. Gavura, judgment, ashe. Tiferet, beauty, ashe. Netzik, victory, ashe. Had, glory, ashe. Yasad, foundation, ashe. Malkut, the kingdom, ashe. The power, force, might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the primordial cosmic flower constantly blooming the absolute all into being, ashe. Shit, water. I can just never get enough water. That's all I drink. I think I'm a serpent. So, what's up? You want to do libations? You want to do yours?
Oh, yeah, you can do it. I don't know what why I hear echo.
Mm, I don't hear one.
Empress
No.
Ashe, Tyler
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Isis Ashe, Cyrus Ashe,
Ashe. Ashe.
Destiny Ashe,
Ashe.
Order out of Chaos Beings Ashe,
Ashe.
Beyond Gods Ashe,
Ashe.
Ma'at Ashe,
Ashe.
all the gods known and unknown, all the goddesses known and unknown Ashe.
Ashe. So what do we have here?
For the most part, man, I don't think people want to be responsible for creating their own reality. That's what I say. They don't want to be responsible for that, even though they have no other choice.
Yeah, really.
They don't want to be responsible. They want to put it off on everybody. The devil made me do it, and uh, if it's not in God's will, or you want to put it off on every fucking body else.
All right, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. I'm busy. Yeah. Well, it's that way until it can't be that way no more.
Well, it's gonna
I
stop
mean,
being that way pretty soon because this is like really a socialist system, man. This is a socialist system, and people are able. This is why they. That's another reason why they refer to this as the greatest country in the world, is because it's bordering on third world conditions, right? Because the only reason it's bordering is because they have socialism here.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can go get on some aid program and be basically living off the fat of the land. That's why they call it the greatest country in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone actually understands the consequences of that lifestyle we have in America. They don't understand the consequence. They just love the abundance, the appearance of abundance, because it's really not abundance. It's just debt. It's just debt
Yeah.
continuous
And yeah, it's
accumulating.
eroding. And it's eroding and it's beginning to smell like a dead carcass.
Yeah, the infrastructure. See, the thing about it, if you even peep out the cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about in particular LA.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of development going on, right?
Yeah.
And you got to understand who the development are in the construction industry and the developers. That's a political um, interest group,
Freemason, masonry.
right? That's a political interest group, and they literally are able to manipulate politicians to get anything they want to get done within this city, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the thing about the general public is we so oblivious and don't recognize how this system works, right? That it always going to work in this system. If you're not operating on enterprising and capitalism, you fail.
Yeah. Well,
Capital, I don't think a
unless
lot
you're
of people recognize.
capitalizing in
Let me
well,
finish. Let me
unless you're
finish.
capitalizing on the socialism.
This is capitalism and remnants of socialism because you always have to have have-nots and the elite. That's
Yeah.
you gotta. That dynamics is necessary for capitalism to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the have-nots.
What kind of ism you think would be fair to all? Or is there such thing as that?
Well, a Republican form of government is the closest thing I can say that I can see as in the interest of the people.
Yeah.
Republican form of government.
Well, as we go into the age of Aquarius and deeper and deeper into Capricorn, I mean, not Capricorn, but Aquarius and Pluto, uh, whatever, Pluto and Aquarius, I think. Um, it's going to change more towards the government for the people. It's going to be more of the people than the government.
Well, the people themselves have to be active in whatever the interest of the people is. This is why
We,
I'm gonna read something to you, and go ahead and talk. Well, I'm gonna read something to you so I can
yeah,
give you.
well, usually it takes adversity to get that fire burning. Once there's an adversity at hand that affects all, and there's really no remedy on the normal level, and you have to come up with something else, that's when, that fire gets going and starts burning.
I mean, so you're revealing the fact that they create these conditions to make you docile purposely, to make
Hmm.
to make you not critically think purposely. They're purposely making you docile.
Trapping you. They're entrapping you by doing that. So when a situation occur where you need to be on your P's and Q's and you're already lazy and docile, you're not going to be able to deal with it. It's going to just overwhelm you because until unless you snap out of that spell and come to grips with yourself and come to the realization that you allowed yourself to get mentally fat or mentally out of shape. And now, and now that shit is coming home to roost.
Well, as a result of integration, and I keep telling my people, because I've had debates with my people about integration. A lot of people are not even have the insight or qualified to even speak on the subject matter. But I usually run into somebody like the brother on that I know down the street who is kind of um, aware, have some insight, or have overview of that history that we can have a
Hmm.
conversation about it. Integration was the worst decision we made as a people.
It was kind of forced on us.
Well, it was convenience based on the condition we were under. So you know how
Hmm.
it was. It's more like they create these desperate conditions to where we feel there's no other choice, and that we feel there's no other choice is a result of lack of character inside of us that we've lost because of integration. In segregation, we had to do it. We had no
Hmm.
other choice.
Yeah, we were more resourceful. We had to be on our wits, had to be
We
on
was
our
on
P's
our
and
own. We was on our own. The system didn't enfranchise us. They defranchised us. They continue to
yeah.
defranchise us, but at the same time, they the only thing that we've gotten. That's why I ask people, what were the benefits of integration? I'm asking you, what were the benefits of integration?
The benefits of integration is that we were able to infiltrate some of their industries.
How so?
Hmm?
Give me an example.
I infiltrated. part of the financial industry and learn a lot of secrets that can be useful. I mean, that's the
So
only thing I can think.
you saying if it wasn't for integration, you wouldn't have been able to do that.
No, I didn't say that.
But I'm
No,
asking, what
I'm
are the
saying that it allowed
that's
me
the
to
basis.
infiltrate.
Well, that's the basis of my question. What was the benefits?
Oh, the
That don't seem
benefits.
like it was
Oh,
a benefit. That seemed like you took it upon yourself to acknowledge yourself about a certain subject matter, and now you became proficient in it, and it has nothing. What that got to do with integration? Because I've heard
yeah.
people say this, made the same argument of, "Oh, we were able to be educated." I'm like, well, we taught the world civilization. We taught the world science. We taught the world mathematics. We taught the world
Yeah.
all these things. So how in the hell that's a part of how we're under subjugation constantly because
I mean,
we have an inferiority complex.
okay, when since you put it that way, to be honest with you, no, I don't really see any benefits from it. There are no real there was we didn't gain anything from it that put us ahead.
Know who did gain though?
What?
The United States government.
We gained the United States government.
No, they gained us.
Oh, they gained us. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
they
you said, who gained? Oh,
yeah
yeah,
they
they
gained they
gained.
gained they gained way more than we gained.
Yeah, because
We
they've
our
gotten
wealth
rich off of
look
us.
the look we yeah of course. I mean look at the wealth in our communities was overwhelmingly more than it is today. We own nothing as a people.
No,
And that's
this
critical. That's a
correct.
critical statement I made. We can't just glance. It's a lot of stuff I'll be saying that we just glance over and just don't even take time to even realize. We own nothing as a people. We gonna go most. I say that and people just oh yeah go about their day. You don't understand. Do you understand the ramifications, the implications of that fact?
Yeah, that means we're behind everybody. Everybody else owns something.
Well, it's
Everybody,
more
every,
than that. It's
oh,
because
I tell you what, we do own. We own a
what
lot of churches.
they don't even own them, brother. They own the banks own them churches, man.
Oh, the bank own them churches.
These people don't own these churches, man. Come on, man. These
Oh,
megalopolis church. Look how do we know this? They've exposed themselves. They talked to they was a reality program. It was a reality TV show called the church business or something like that.
mm-hmm.
You remember? Did you ever see that shit?
No, I never seen that.
They talked about all these mega churches and all these black mega churches out in Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they literally exposed themselves as living in a detriment or a deficit, right? But living in debt to sustain their life, right? They're living at a deficit, but they're living in debt to sustain that. Because other people, this is one culture that we need to. There's a lot of stuff we need to get rid of in our character, and one of them is appearing to have it going on, in
Yeah,
opposed
but
to doing what's necessary to actually have it going on. We love
mm-hmm.
appearing to have it going on.
Yeah, we love to look. We're posers, great posers.
Right. We love to appear to. I was talking to my brother the other day. He just, but we both be out there hustling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically got him. He basically bought him a Benz off his hustling, right? He bought him a Benz, a Mercedes Benz off his hustling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now he feels like he's in a position to act if he's hustling harder than me or he doing more than me just because of the fact that he bought him a Benz, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm doing just as well as you, bro. I just don't flash my what I do.
Yeah, not only
I
that,
don't
but
I don't want to flash because at the end of the day, the loudest person is more likely the most weakest person. Look at how the
yeah.
Europeans operate.
Mm-hmm.
They operate. They've been wearing the same pair of jeans for over 20 years, and they billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yep.
I don't get into that trying to flash. That's one of the flaws in our culture is that we all about flashy and trying to appear to look like we got it going on instead of actually having it going on.
Yeah.
And
And
at the,
living beyond our means.
if we spend if we spend as much of time we spend appearing to and all that effort to fake it till we make it, that effort and that energy can be used to actually making it, to
Mm-hmm.
actually taking it step to step. Of course it's not going to happen overnight, but the journey itself of actually achieving it is the motherfucking goal.
Yeah, that's the best part. The journey.
Right, because and then when you make it, right, it's inevitable for those. See, this is I've been wrestling with this with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? It's inevitable for those who already know themselves and know what they
Hmm.
can produce, right? It's inevitable. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But it's it's a lot of our people who really don't have that they broken. Their spirits are broken, bro. A lot of our people's spirits are broken, man.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Well, then that means we
Look,
don't
check
have a
this
whole
out.
lot of competition.
But check this out though. Okay, imagine me, the homie, you, the homie Leon that be coming on sometime. He probably on right now.
Hmm.
The other brother that be coming on, I forgot his name. Imagine we just come together and just come together as an investment club and be like, we gonna put $1,000 a month in this, right?
Hmm.
Eventually we'll be a millionaire as a group. See, our problem is our mentality is I just want to be a millionaire, and that's what we lose.
Well, see, even if any of our brothers and sisters read Think and Grow Rich, one of the principles in there that you need for wealth and power is a mastermind group. He tells you you can have all the brain power in the world, but each brain is just like a battery. One brain can only produce so much energy, but a group of brains create far more energy than just one.
But the thing about it is, I wonder why my proposals fall on deaf ears a lot of time. Like we should do this, we should do this, and it falls on deaf ear. And I've realized that we are so cynical towards each other,
Hmm.
and it's more of we've been corrupted. We've been so corrupted to the point where it's beyond just self-loathing because we are reflections of each other. If I can't trust you, really, I can't trust myself. If I hate
Yeah,
you, really, I hate myself. If we can't really come to an agreement, we're gonna continue to be subjugated because we don't agree on nothing. And the people who do agree on something, they have an advantage over us. That's the point of nationality.
yeah,
Nationality is a result of people, a group of people who come from a certain lineage, a certain women that they live by certain standards. That's as a result of the collective interest of
yeah,
that said
collective.
people.
Yeah.
We have a
Hmm.
collective interest, and we ignore that as a people. Now, let me read this right quick.
Okay.
Moroccan Post School of Government and International Law, the educational vehicle for the facilitation of the Shem Malachi Bay. proposal and plan to facilitate political legitimacy, the will of the people, the consent of the people, and good government through education, um, large
Large.
large scale community outreach and networking. This is what we're talking about with the networking. But what's key in
Hmm.
here is to facilitate the political legitimacy, the will of the people, the consent of the people. That is key right there.
You
The
can't have a
will of
government
the
without
people,
that.
meaning we have to get to the people to realize our collective interests as a people and start acting on that collective interest. We have a collective interest. All of us ignoring it, but we have
Hmm.
a collective interest, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we want to get all of us on one accord as a result to that. That becomes the will of the people now,
Yeah.
right? That becomes the consent of the people. We don't want to. It's not a cult. We're not trying to scare people into joining us. We're not trying to uh, uh, um, intimidate and impose on people to join. We want people on their free will to realize, damn, this is what we supposed to been doing. Everybody else doing it. What the fuck wrong with us?
Because, like I said, uh, one battery only produces enough, just so much energy, but a group of batteries produce a large amount of energy, which means we come together as one. That's a lot of brains coming together. That's a lot of batteries.
The,
That's a
the
lot of energy.
the consent of the people is based in that collective understanding of our collective best interest. We know all and recognize, oh, damn, because right now there's a disconnect. We do not understand our collective best interest. We do not even understand uh, that we are a monolith in some instances, not totally. We are a monolith.
Hmm.
But not because we say that a lot. I hear people we say, "Well, black people are not a monolith." Well, at the end of the day, we have to exhibit some of those characteristics of a monolithic
What do you
people.
mean by monolith when you say that?
Monolith is just a group who are just that group. Okay, I'm gonna look it up because I got a understanding of it. But But a monolith is basically how you look at a group of people and look at them like as just those dark people. We don't judge them by individuals. We judge them as those people.
Oh, a group as the group.
Right. Monolith.
Mm.
Monolith. It refers to a singular large stone or rock formation, a metaphorically to something large, powerful, and flexible. It can also refer to a film, a game, or a studio, right? So a monolith is just this solid entity. We are not solid in any case, but we have to have some stability, some solidification within some of our activities. Meaning, we have to agree upon certain things, and we have to move and cohesively in that respect.
That's
So
completely outside of religion, politics, and
it has nothing to do with that.
yeah,
It has
it's
everything to do with our collective best interests.
and separating that from all of those things. That's yeah, that's a feat right there.
But
Are people are people capable of separating? There may
yeah, I mean, once they
yeah.
realize why they can't separate it, is because we've been wired in a certain way that we wired. We've been wired in a way where we bunch these things up in a dysfunctional way, looking at it from the Western worldview. It's a in our true nature, we
Mm-hmm.
make distinction, but we don't necessarily make distinction from the emotional wiring and the psychological wiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out in a more abstract way of viewing the world and stuff. That's how we look at the world. We look at it abstractly. We don't look at it necessarily as we don't look at it necessarily as just practical, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
all just practical. It's all these variations of holistic consideration that we take in. We doing what we're how we in our true nature are vibrating. In our true nature, we're vibrating on so a lot of times when we're viewing our position as a people, when we're viewing who we are, the people, we're viewing it from the Western world view, and this is a hindrance because we must return to our natural way of doing things. We must
Mm-hmm.
return back to our natural way. I know our natural way of doing things. We shun that now. We don't even want to have nothing to do with our natural ways of doing things.
Well, because that don't come with no www dot whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
So this,
we
go ahead.
no, we're stuck in this technological prison now.
Well, I mean, it's a prison of your own imprisonment. We are in control of our reality. It's just what are we willing to do, and what are we standing upon moving forward.
Okay, well, actually, this technology is only tools that the white man produced to help.
Nah, nah, don't give them credit for it. Nope. Hell no. Nah. Most of the technology we see today was the result of melanated people
Okay.
efforts and
Yeah.
technology. So we don't want to give credit. We've been known
Yeah.
to do that based on our inferiority count. We give the European credit for, and they really get credibility for nothing. Let's be real, except being the most crafty. They're
Yeah.
the most crafty. They're the most willing to go to the bottom and and do
And
some
come
of
up
the,
that way.
they know for that. They're very much masters of craftiness, tricknology,
Underhandedness.
underhandedness, dishonor.
And we're learning after them.
We have adopted it wholeheartedly. That's why we've become a degenerate people.
Yes, we have.
We don't really have any morals, like really. Let's just look at the culture. Like I mean, there are still so-called black people in melanated who stand on principles. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
there's a
I'm
lot of
saying
people like
if
that.
it's look, my thing is we should be offended that they're just highlighting that aspect of our community when it only represents less than 20% of our community.
Yeah, that's true because when you go deep into it, there's a lot of black people with a lot of integrity.
But guess what?
The way.
Guess what? It's our fault that our image is being tainted in the public like that. We should be in control of our media. We should be in control of our public image.
Hmm.
We should be in control of our identity as a people. This is
Yeah,
why
we should.
what I'm reading is so vital. Let me continue to read this, brother.
Sure, go ahead.
The Moroccan Post School for Government and International Law main objective is to facilitate the national political unity of the various Moorish governing bodies into a Moorish government alliance and central Moorish imperial parliament council, right? This is key.
Hmm. Hmm.
First of all, I know a lot of y'all hearing this more, we more. If y'all still having that debate, then we not talking to you. We're not talking to you. I mean, fine. You don't want to be a Moor, that's fine. No, I'm not talking to you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
okay, so the ultimate goal of the Moorish Intergovernmental Alliance will function as a Moorish provisional government, transitional government, temporary government to provide international representation.
Mm-hmm. International representation. That means domestic. I mean, oh
So-called
no,
black people
international
do.
foreign.
So-called black people have no international representation right now. Y'all don't have. Don't say you do. Don't give me no black leader and act like he's the representative of black people. Fuck that. Nah, don't give me that. That's
Black
bullshit.
Black lives matter don't represent us internationally. What do you mean? We got Black Lives Matters.
Well, why we laugh? I want to laugh at the people, but that shit is funny.
It's
That's
just only here, it's not overseas. We're going to open a Black Lives Matter embassy everywhere.
damn. Which will fail because it's not based in international law. Who are
Yeah,
black people? What about what? When you dealing with look, let me say this again because I gotta keep
yes.
telling people. I gotta keep telling people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Humans talk to other humans,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Corporations interact with corporations.
Yes.
Nations, guess what? They
Yeah.
interact with other nations. They don't interact with individuals.
Right.
They don't interact with individuals. That's why when Trayvon Martin's parents went to the UN, what did they tell him? Oh, that's a domestic issue. Go back to your government and the
If we
fuck.
don't deal with that, yeah.
This is the United what nations,
Yeah, United
not
Nations, not
not
you.
not not a subgroup of people calling themselves black and come to us and asking for us to assert or recognize your human rights. Black people are not humans. I'm gonna just be real.
So, in other words, they were a laughing stock all over the world. On the international scene, they were sitting back, although it was a tragical, incident, but the way their approach is kind of comical. I mean,
Well, the thing about it is, I don't care about what other communities attack against us are anymore. I don't care about what they have done to us anymore because so we are so divisive with each other and we so divided as a people. That's the only thing that can happen in that under that
yeah,
condition.
you divided, you fall. United, we
That's the only thing
stand.
can happen. So I'm not blaming no stop talking to me about racism and how this system is not have no equality for us. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want
Yeah,
to hear that shit no more. Get the fuck out of here. Create
and
your
I'm
own.
learning why you feel that way.
No, because at the end of the day, create your own. Then don't go to nobody's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the United States jurisdiction, right? Don't go to
Yeah.
nobody's house and start being entitled. This is what they made us. They made us some entitled little children. You're not respecting my rights. You equal rights. Where are equal rights? To the point where they have to start passing unconstitutional legislation just to pacify you niggas.
To keep you from tearing up everything,
Right.
and they don't have to
They
commit
still, they
genocide.
still, they still are continuing to perpetuate servitude on you, retarded. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you refuse to take full, wholehearted, sole responsibility for ourselves. We refuse to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, freedom doesn't mean what I've been all these years defined freedom as. All these years, I had to redefine freedom as self-reliance, independence. If we can't feed ourselves, motherfucker, how are we free? We ain't got our own independent, self-sustainable farm protected by our own government. We not never gonna be free.
Well, then the shit. Then we need to shut the fuck up and stop complaining and get to work and get ourselves
It's
organized.
enough of us to do the work. It's not enough of us who have allegiance to us. Not enough of us who have allegiance to us. We don't
Mm,
have allegiance to ourselves. This is why it's so convenient for you to just say I'm an American and take on and integrate into that, assimilate,
yeah, the board.
amalgamate. It's so easy to act like you to and all of that, right, is nothing more than a delusion, a illusion of inclusion. You niggas are still to this day complaining about you not getting treated right. Fuck out of here, man. I'm sick of it at this point. I don't want to
And
hear shit
then
about no
and
racism.
then you have some brothers who climb up the ladder and are successful, and they're thankful for the system. They're thankful for Martin Luther King's dream because they made it.
Yeah, that's another part of the culture in so-called black society is that we love to play classism with each other. We love to
Yeah.
play that. We love the fact that there are some of us who are not who are below the poverty line. That's one of the things that makes it all worth it for them. Some of y'all niggas can't make it, and some see that's what they thrive off of, the elite, the bourgeoisie. So what it is now, the majority of us who live below the poverty line, right?
Hmm.
We strive to accomplish the being like them, which makes some of these motherfuckers. I was just having a conversation about I was having a conversation about this weak ass nigga the other day, right?
Hmm.
He was talking about oh if because remember 50 Cent, he's basically always using his wealth to basically make people feel in up under him and inferior. He's a
Mm.
petty ass sabotager and opportunist who he literally will sabotage your career because you wasn't loyal to him.
Uh-huh.
That's the type of petty person, and I'm telling him he's petty. And the brother I was arguing, he was like, "Oh, yeah, they're unloyal." Well, guess what? If me and you as partners, right, and we got enemies out here as business partners, right? Of course, as nationals, we got the same enemies. I'm gonna just be real.
Hmm.
As nationals, but as business partners, I don't got the same rivals in business that you have.
Hmm.
I may network with some of the people that you may not be mess with.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's the argument I was having with him. Like, no, I don't have a loyalty as my business partner to you as that in that respect at the extreme. No, I have a loyalty to you, meaning I will favor you before I favor them in the business. But at the end of the day, I do business with who I'm pleased to, I'm pleased to do business with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
some people can't take that and they'll murder you over that.
Yeah, I mean that's petty, but you got to realize that a lot of people are actually immature adults, immature, childish adults that can't get over something as simple as
And
petty
they,
as
and they
that. Like,
become
it ain't even
dangerous.
that
And
big
they're
of a deal. It's not even
and
that
they're
big of a deal. It's like some jealousy or oh, some friends
the
with him too
envy.
try to be friends with me. No, you're gonna have to choose. Man, if you don't get your weak ass that's weak.
Shit.
I mean, each his own. Because I may be considered to be violating the community right now because I'm very insensitive to weakness, man. I'm gonna just be real. I'm
No
insensitive
matter how much it hurts, the weak.
because I'm under the mindset of adversity make you stronger, man.
Me too.
Go through what you got to go through to get where you need to get.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Man, shit. The same here, man. High five on that one.
don't
Shit.
cry. Don't cry for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cry for me. I'm gonna get out here and get it anyway, so you ain't gonna have to. I'm gonna get out here and make something happen where it ain't nothing happening.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shit. I remember after I got my settlement the first time and I fucked up all my money trading, it didn't work the way that I wanted to, and I had to go back to work. Hey, I did what I had
Hey,
to
man, you
do.
got it. Nah, no shame and ain't no shame and none of that. I don't give a
Mm-mm.
fuck. See, that's another part of our culture. You can't. We everything is an up and down. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you want to get to the point where you correct your inconsistencies over time to where you don't have those type of pitfalls and those type of falls. But at the end of the day, you're going to continue to go up and down. It's inevitable. So
Yeah. Well,
let me continue to read this right quick because
okay, go ahead. All
it's
right.
getting close to the end. Okay, okay, this is key right here though. I'm gonna read it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna read it from the top from again. Moroccan Post School,
Moroccan Post.
Moroccan Post School for Government and International Law. Main objective is to facilitate the international political unity of the various Moorish governing bodies into a Moorish intergovernment alliance and Central Moorish Imperial Parliament Council, right? That's important too. Imperial important. That's a centralized government. That was equivalent to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the ultimate goal of the Moorish International Government Alliance would function as a Moorish provisional government, transitional, while we're going through the facilitation of rising up to this level of understanding of nationality and
Yeah.
rising up to understand our collective best interests and how to manage the will of the people as a respect of that. We're going to create a provisional government right now so that we can start handling international business before we even get there, before we even have a critical mass in this in this rise of consciousness, right?
And in that governing body will be functioning in its own jurisdiction
Of course,
outside.
it'll be functioning in the lost sovereignty that we're restoring. We're recovering the lost sovereignty of the Moors. So
in
that's the
which we
jurisdiction. That's going to be the power of that jurisdiction, that lost sovereignty.
and do that mean we would need a capital, a central point?
Yeah, I believe so. We would have to have somewhere where this government would be centralized, right? So yes.
Mm-hmm.
So government. Okay. So the ultimate goal of the Moorish Intergovernmental Alliance would function as a Moorish provisional government, traditional temporary government to provide international representation and an international voice for our people who, in large numbers, are currently subjugated under an apartheid United States system of legalized slavery, evidenced through the mass denationalization of the original autochthonous native aboriginal indigenous people of the land. That's key right there
Mm-hmm.
because they're continuing to subjugate us through what? Through the title of Negro, Black, Color, African
Negro,
American.
colored,
That's a
black, Afro
that's
American.
that's a form of subjugation For them to even refer to us as that is a form of subjugation, because they don't want to refer to us as the Moors because they know that international law kicks in and they don't have the power over the Moors that they have over Negro, black, colored, African American.
So should they turned us into their um, illegitimate stepchild?
Right. They're weird creatures. Black people are creatures of the law.
Yeah,
They were created. They were created by the stroke of the pen.
damn.
They were not created through the birth canal of their parents of their mother.
No, didn't come from the great mother.
Right.
We just came from a motherfucker.
Furthermore, this provisional transitional Moorish government will facilitate a temporary transitional Moorish government structure to use diplomatic channels and international law to engage in diplomacy with the European nations with which we, the native Moors of the land, have treaties so as to stay in unity with the treaties as the law of the land and in honor with international treaty agreements, covenants, the declaration, unions and conventions of indigenous Aboriginal people that form the impact with each other, and along with treaties signed with Great Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, England, Great Britain, Sweden, the Netherlands, Dutch Republic, Belgium, Denmark, Sardinia. During the 15th and 16th.
That's deep right there. That right there is very powerful.
Very powerful, man. I don't think people understand the implications of it yet. And that's what the facilitation of this rising the consciousness of the people is about. We have to get people to recognize this. They don't recognize it. This is everybody can do their research on it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is we disassociate ourselves with the Moors, and that's the bigger issue. That's going to be a big issue because this debate's going back and forth. Are we the Moors? And me personally, I don't argue with y'all. We are all in the above. But think about it. We are all of the above. But think about it. We were ruling the seven seas. Stupid. So we don't we want to take the title of when we was ruling shit?
Yeah, you want to still, you want which mode you want to be in? The inferior us or the superior us or the inferior us?
Right.
Which
I
us you want to be?
all this black power. Well, guess what? The
That's the
Moors
inferior us.
The Moors were the most greatest black or Moor power on the planet. What you mean power? Y'all not talking. Are y'all talking about symbolic ass gestures?
Y'all just why we don't hear about it? Why didn't we didn't learn about that in school?
Because we have not taken it our destination in our own hand and educate our own children in our own educational facilities. That's why.
Yeah, and not only that because the reason why you haven't heard of that, because when we were taken over, they took the children from the parents and re-educated them into the system that they wanted. And so now you are the end result of what happened then.
Right, they do it to this day because we just voluntarily give them to them now. They don't have to take the children no more. We voluntarily give it to them. We voluntarily send them to the public school. We voluntarily send them to the public school. They don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to look bad like we did then. We look humane now. We got the big nice yellow school bus, the bus driver all dressed up and looking neat. Shit. Right. Come on in.
Sending their children into slaughter, basically. Fattening them up for slaughter. That's all they doing. and
Yeah.
and got the nerve to think, oh, I'm doing what's best for my children. No, the fuck you not, because you didn't even think about it. You just
You
did
know,
you just did what was convenient. All
no,
y'all,
no,
all
you're
these,
not.
I'm tired of most of these parents just doing what's convenient and then want the credibility of being the greatest parent. Get the
They're
fuck out.
not capable of knowing what is best because they are victims of the same genocides as well and don't know it. And they are plagued. They have the indoctrination. They've been indoctrinated so fucking hard until they think it's their fucking thinking now.
Right, right, right. Okay,
Okay.
let me finish. Okay, okay. Okay, where was I at? Okay, let me say this provisional transitional Moorish government will facilitate a temporary transitional Moorish government structure to use diplomatic channels and international law to engage in diplomacy with the European nations, with
Oh,
which
you read the whole thing already. You finished it already. We went through all the treaties, 1500, 1600. You named all the countries. We
okay, it
just
was the part
explained
that I
how
missed
important.
though. Okay, it was the treaty, the laws and law of the land, and honor and with international treaties, agreement, covenant, declaration, unions and conventions of indigenous Aboriginal people that form the impact with each other, and along with the treaty signing with Great Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, England, Great Britain, Sweden, the Netherlands, Dutch Republic, Belgium, um, Denmark, Sardinia, during the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 1800s, and the Georgia United States Republic of America in 1787. Mind you, what we see today is not the de jure United States Republic of America no more. So
Yeah.
they in violation right there, right?
No. Yeah.
Right?
So, in other words, this is talking about a whole different relationship and way of thinking between us and the
United
European.
States and the European nations.
So, another, like you said, they were our allies. They're supposed to
No,
be, huh?
no, I wouldn't necessarily say they were allies in commerce.
In
But
commerce.
you remember because you remember that this these treaties were the results of perpetual wars against the
Oh,
European nations, right? We was
uh-huh.
it was a result of perpetual wars against the European nation where we will take them as hostages and actually pull them into the first slave system was Europeans, to be real.
Yeah. So, in other words, we were the big bad wolves.
Yeah, we was dominating all of those treaties. All those treaties were under our conditions. So this is why you have the protection of Morocco and all this stuff, because it was international standards and protocol to it was international protocol to uh, international commerce and going back and forth across the Atlantic. They had to,
Okay.
because we was in control of all that shit.
So those poor Europeans, they got so fed up with us that they said, "Fuck it, we gonna turn the whole tide on this shit."
No, it was more of the fact that they wanted to expand their seafaring capability.
Oh, and in order to do that, they had to leave.
They couldn't have done it while they were at odds with the Moors, because we would jack they shit the fuck up.
Jack, they
Fuck out of
shouldn't.
here. You're
Yeah,
not coming
and that's
across here and
blackmail.
you're not coming across here because you pay taxes, motherfucker.
Okay.
No, seriously, that's what happened. All those prior movies, all that shit about the pirates, that was us. Jacking their
Oh
ass up.
shit. So we were cripping real. We was gang banging real hard back then.
We ruled the seven seas, and we was
We,
basically
that
basically
was
we were
our hood.
basically extorting everybody. Like, "Nigga, you can't come through here. What the fuck? You better pay your taxes.
Yeah,
Fuck out
damn
of here."
shit. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in 1836 as the ruling principle and norm of the law, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what happens is we was ruling the seven seas, and they had to come up under our conditions, man. Those treaties
Mm-hmm.
are under our condition. Those were originally written in Arabic.
Oh,
All those treaties, right?
yeah,
So they
yeah.
under our is that we respect them in their sovereign authority, but they have to recognize that their commercial seafaring capabilities as nations is solely dependent on Morocco. So
Because of the treaties.
yes, yes.
Even though treaties is not an application of law, but it is supreme.
Well, the thing about it is the treaties are basically law, international
They're
law.
international, because I heard them say they're not applications of law, but I'm wondering how's that not the case?
Well, they're like I said, they are international law. So it's precedence on an international scale.
So what's
So,
the difference between a treaty and an application of law?
well, a treaty is an agreement between two or more nations.
Hmm.
An application of law is just a principle of understanding of what is applicable in law and what is not applicable.
Okay, so that's what not makes a treaty an application of law,
What
based
not?
on what
What
you
what
just
what doesn't? What? So I don't understand your question. Ask that
I
again.
mean, what you just the definition that you just gave.
Mhm.
There are two different definitions. Although the treaty is is it's supreme and
Well,
it's
I don't know what people mean by it, because it applies when it comes to interacting with more with the other
so
nations that are a party to the treaty. So it applies. So I don't know what they mean by it's not an application.
okay. Would treaties be considered a principle of law?
I would say so. I
Yeah.
would say so.
So if it's a principle of law, then it's an application of law, then, right?
Like I said, it applies. I don't know if application apply is the application in apply is basically the same. It's just in two
Hmm.
different tense, right?
Yeah.
So it applies in the international interaction with the Moorish, the Mohammedan nations,
Hmm.
and the European Christian nations.
Now, the Moors were around before Islam, so
Well, the thing about it is the treaties don't just apply to the Moors who are Islamic in nature. It applies to Moors, period, regardless of
yeah.
regardless of your religious.
Hmm.
Man. So,
Yeah.
so like I said,
And
it's international law.
international law. It's not, yeah. Okay. There's some, I mean, learning about law, it's fascinating. It's
Once
especially
you
the
get into it,
principles of
'cause,
law.
what happens is I'm so into it that it's
Yeah.
so, and I've been studying it for so long now that it's come second nature for me to understand it now.
Shit, you could go teach attorneys now because they don't understand international law, and
Like they're not
they
supposed to, because that's outside of their scope of
hmm
what they're that's outside of the scope of what they even were going to school for in law school. They're only
yeah.
going to be limited to the bar association.
So they're not practicing principles of law. They're practicing more just
Well, there are principles of law that apply when when they're being educated. There are principles of law that come into play
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
they have
education.
to be.
But international law, they not being taught this. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
They have jurists that are in the jurisdiction of America that probably know what we're talking about.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah.
jurists,
Mm-hmm.
that's a specific type of profession. Like a jurist is not necessarily a lawyer. A jurist may have a law degree,
Mm-hmm.
but he is not necessarily a lawyer. The jurist is someone who's proficient in international law and is probably more likely sitting in one of those offices with the centralized in the central government. Like I forgot what this called. I think it's the Office of Foreign Affairs.
Okay. Or embassies, or yeah, Office of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah,
Okay.
you will probably if you go to the Office of Foreign Affairs, you
Mm-hmm.
can talk to a jurist there.
I see. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And if you, we should actually do experiment on that and just go to one of those, go to Washington D.C. and talk to and get an appointment to talk to the Council of Foreign Affairs and stuff,
Yeah.
and actually ask certain questions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And just
Yeah.
confirm that what we're saying is from the perspective of how United States of America complies to international law.
So you're talking about taking road trips?
I mean, it can actually be beneficial to actually educational, and
Mm-hmm.
we can actually put it on a blast on YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
monetize it
Mm-hmm.
and use it to use the money, use the fiat to facilitate our help what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a lot of fundraisers. I got a lot of ways we can raise funds. More the things that I'm doing because I see like a lot of stuff I'm gonna have to do for myself because there ain't a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people I proposed the stuff to really making an effort. They're still waiting for their European master to fall until they start getting on the ball. But my first thing is going to do is creating a study group here because I
Yeah.
already had a study group and it's kind of fell off because people went back to regularly scheduled programming already in progress a lot of
Yeah.
times.
That happens. Yeah. It. But there's ways around that.
Well, like
Sure.
I said, once the master system falls,
Shit, that could be
once
next
the
week.
master system falls, then you ain't gonna have no other choice. You're
That's
gonna
what.
still have people clinging on to it after it falls and basically going on with the protocol because they're gonna initiate the King Alfred plan when very soon.
Interesting. Well, I know next week we're going to see a continuation of the sell off in the stock market. It
Right.
made a death cross. We're at the death cross.
Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
And you can tell they're getting ready for it because the last the last Trump um the last Trump
Administration. Yeah.
administration, not this one, the
Hmm.
last one, right?
Yeah. In
We got
2020.
exposed to what's that shit called uh what was the right wing the extreme right wing group that they had out at the time what was the name of it um it was the abbreviations of Make America Great Again.
Oh, oh, um, yeah, I know.
Well,
Yeah.
the original group who started, mind you, 9 times out of 10 is CIA. But
Some said it was Trump's wife.
hey,
I
you
know.
know what? You can't
Mhm.
put nothing past nothing, man. At the end of the day, we don't.
So
We
she had on at the inauguration.
look.
She was
I love stories.
cute, 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 right? Cute.
Yeah, QAnon,
QAnon. Mm-hmm.
QAnon, right?
Yeah.
QAnon. Guess who was one of the leaders in QAnon?
Who?
The general of the United States government.
The general of the United States
The
Army or
general. Yes, the general of the United States Army. My bad.
uh-huh. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, you can have people on the inside. I mean, you remember shit, they showed you that shit on Star Wars. Um the episode 1, 2, and 3
Right,
when
right. Star
uh,
Wars.
yeah,
See, a lot of the movies are telling you what their agenda is, because if they tell you through the movies what their agenda is, it's like we told you.
yeah.
We told
Mm-hmm.
you what we were gonna do.
Oh, but that,
every
see,
every scenario that played out, even the COVID, they got a movie that talks about that plays out that whole scenario in the movie.
yeah, but that's not true.
Whatever. Listen. I don't even want to entertain the dunce ditz ass motherfucker in the back of the class. And, nah, man, you ain't getting it by this time. You ain't getting it. If you don't get it by now, you ain't getting it. Okay,
All
so
that
whatever.
conspiracy stuff, man.
But my point is, the general of the United States Army being a
Yeah, I heard
main leader
something.
in QAnon, right?
Yeah.
What happened was there was a soft coup that happened around the time. That's why when they invaded the White House and stuff, it was like a soft coup, right? Well, the military was basically taking over the United States government, and as a result, what happened was, this is why the Democratic administration came in, and what they did was they started passing legislation to do what? Start opening up the borders, right? They made it where, also you got to realize what made that legislation legitimate was the fact that the free trade agreement is already made. There's no borders.
Mm.
As it pertains to commerce. Now, mind you, the United States of America is not operating as the republic; it's operating as a commercial entity now, like it's operating as a corporation right now.
Yeah, so it's
So,
de facto.
right, de facto. So, as a result, what happens is, all of what I've determined based on my research is all of the governments in Southern America and Northern America have converted to these just corporations now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the free trade, and I don't think a lot of people read it. I'm a really, probably, because I said this one time and I promised that I was going to do it. I'm going to bring up the free trade agreement. I don't think people even, this shit crazy, my nigga. You got to recognize, man. I don't think I read this shit and I was like, they putting it right in our fucking face what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta read. I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it up next week. The free trade agreement, y'all.
Please do.
That shit came. That shit was like in 2000 or 90 or something. Like, if I'm not mistaken,
Wasn't that during when
in the late
Clinton?
90s.
Well, Clinton, he did NAFTA. That's not NAFTA, is it?
It may be associated with NAFTA. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna pull it up next week. I'm gonna pull it up. I forgot what year. I think it was late 90s. They actually, because the free trade agreement was really a treaty between all of these Southern American countries and North America, right? And that was they are harping over the Democratic policy that made the borders open. The borders had already been open already for commerce, though. But guess what? Everybody are considered commerce now. This is why, listen, this is why trafficking of humans have been deemed as a commercial crime. It's a commercial crime. It's not necessarily like a criminal crime. It's a people are looked at as in the commercial sense, not in
Commodities.
national sense, not in the nationality sense. People are looked at as commodities, and they can
Oh,
come back and forth across the borders.
so they're commercial. They're commercial property.
They are,
And
especially if you took that shot, though. you,
oh, shit, yeah,
especially if you took that shot, you no longer
they
belong to
own.
yourself anymore.
Yeah, they got patented over your ass.
Yeah, man, they got you. I mean, and then also why I'm saying that is because when the borders opened up, it means a lot of these what they call them militia groups and what they call them. I'm thinking of the actual name. It's militia groups that already they are here now. There are a lot of there are a lot
Yeah,
of there are a lot of sleeper cell groups here right now
yeah,
because the military have they basically they're the coup in the military right now to the point where the military are basically that. This is why they kind of replacing a lot of the old military and the new right now. They got a lot of people who are basically not even necessarily Americans in the military right now.
well, shit, they trying to replace everything with robots and AI. You're
Oh, they're gonna
gonna,
do that. They're gonna do
yeah,
that.
you're
That's
gonna have
definitely
AI soldiers. You're gonna
why you
have
think
robots.
they got these cars called Moe cars.
Oh, the cars with that little thing on the top
Right.
that drives
They're
itself.
they're they're slowly but surely ushering it in.
Yeah,
They slowly but surely they're getting us applicated to it, so that it eventually, gradually, we didn't even see it coming and we didn't pay attention. Nobody even protested it. These cars on the streets right now, nobody's even protesting it and questioning the safety of these things. Nobody's saying nothing until
but
something happens. Once something happens, which is going to be a part of their agenda too. Anytime they want some, this is the
oh,
thing, bro.
they showed you what's gonna happen in Michelle Obama in her
Yeah,
movie.
the
Leave
what's
the
it
world
called?
behind. Leave the world behind.
Beyond the end or something. Beyond the
No,
end.
leave the world behind.
Leave the world beyond. Yep, 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 yep,
Yeah,
yep.
with the Teslas, the self-driving cars, they got
Right,
hacked and
right,
they used them to clog up all the arteries of the freeways till you couldn't get on or off any intersection because they were all clogged up with self-driving cars. That was hacked.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We need freedom fighters, people who fight freedom fighters, who fight for the interests of the people, who have the technical savvy to counter all of these things that are they're ushering the cloud. That's
Mm-hmm.
people ignoring that part of
Yeah.
their agenda. The cloud is a big part of their agenda. Now
Yeah.
they literally got these phones, right? That
Yeah.
they're passing out because these a lot of people are giving away Obama phones, and that's another agenda too.
Oh shit.
These Obama phones. Guess what the Obama phones are called now?
What?
Cloud.
Cloud. Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If you get one of these phones, you can you basically relinquish your right of privacy.
Uh-huh.
One
Not
of the
only the
things,
phones, but the laptop. I mean the tablets too.
well, everything the CI the what they call it Homeland Security or was it
Yeah.
who was busted who got caught on spying on the
Homeland,
American people?
oh no. The NFA. I mean NSA. National
NSA got
Security
caught spying
Association.
on the American people, right?
Yeah.
And basically, at the end of the day, we have to invoke our we have to invoke our already inalienable rights that the Constitution recognizes.
Yeah.
Right?
Regardless.
The Constitution doesn't give us any rights. It recognizes rights that we already inalienably had already.
Oh, so it don't give you rights. It's a recognition of rights
Yeah.
that already exist regardless.
Yes. Regardless of if they established they
And
assembled themselves into a government or not,
constitutions only
it still applies.
acknowledges. All the Constitution does is is acknowledges that these rights apply.
Right.
It's an application.
It's inalienable rights that you have, meaning rights you were born with. You have the
Mhm.
look. Let me give you a more a clearer understanding of it. Rights are derived from property ownership, right?
Mhm.
Rights are derived from ownership, right?
Yeah.
You have the right. You have the right to speak, or the government recognizes your right to speak because you own lungs. You
Yeah,
can
we
speak,
own.
right?
Okay. Mhm.
You own lungs. You have the right to travel, right? You have the right
Uh-huh.
to travel, but if you waive that right to become a driver and become a commercial event, and you make your activities as a human commercial now.
Mhm.
So now you have a privilege to drive, but you have the right to travel.
Wait, okay, so the right to travel means travel by natural means like your feet or a horse.
By whatever means necessary to travel, by your conveyance, by
Mhm.
whatever means you need to get from point A to point B is travel.
Mhm.
You don't
But
have the
when
right. You don't have the right to drive.
you don't
And
have
if
the
you
right
look
to
up the definition of drive, it's a commercial activity.
Oh, it's a commercial activity.
Yes, meaning truck drivers need a license
Yeah.
because they're operating in commerce,
Yes.
right? A bus
Mhm.
driver they need license because they operate in commerce,
Mhm.
right? But a
Mhm.
human being, if they invoke, see, this is why contract is very important. We don't even understand how we're contracting. We're
Yeah.
contracting by going up to the DMV. We're falling. Well, first of all, we fall into the mindset of thinking that we want the privilege of driving and opposed to having the right to travel, right? And then
Mhm.
we give partial ownership over to the state to our vehicle, and now the state have a vested interest in your vehicle, so now they get to regulate your vehicle and tell you got to go get license, you got to go get a stamp for the back of your vehicle so that you can engage in this privilege.
Yeah. Registration.
Right? They register your car. Registering your car just meaning you agreeing to partial liability for the vehicle. And
Hmm.
as a result, and how do I know this? I know this for sure because you know that the smog program, how if your car doesn't pass the smog program,
Mhm.
you know the government has to compensate you for taking your vehicle out of commission. They have to compensate you. Meaning,
Meaning?
if your car can't pass the smog check,
Yes.
the state would have to give you a certain amount of money so you can get a car that will pass.
Oh, really?
Yes, people
Shit. How
don't look
you?
this stuff up.
Damn.
People don't look this
The
stuff up.
Newsom never said no shit like that.
They're not gonna tell you. You gotta
Mm.
you gotta go about yourself because it's in your interest to know.
So Newsom, he don't say shit like that on his podcast.
Huh?
Governor Newsom, he has his podcast. He don't say shit like that.
Right. Well, he's a public servant, so he's working in the interest. All public servants, right? They are trustees in the public trust. So they work in the interest of the public trust. And we know now that the public trust is not an organic trust, it's a corporate trust that's in the interest of the corporate of whatever's municipality, the federal government is taking the interest of their corporate interest and opposed to the interest of the people.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even the United States government itself. They don't
Yeah,
work in the interest of the people anymore. They work in the
yeah, you
interest
can
of
tell.
corporations. Because
Yeah, there's nothing.
corporations are legal persons,
Meaning.
meaning that's who their rights that's the rights that are being protected under the Constitution right now. Under this
Commercial.
under this quasi instrument that we call the Constitution that has been
Commercial to
uh,
the commercial to the commercial constitution
right, because
commercial
it's like they've abandoned.
commerce.
See, you remember they have you ever heard this people saying that the Constitution has been suspended?
Yeah.
Okay, so they saying the Constitution, and there's some truth to that. The
Mm-hmm.
Constitution has been suspended because the general public doesn't know how to assert the laws that are that the recognizations of the law that are in the Constitution. Most
And they
people are
don't
not
even,
even savvy enough to even understand the structure of the Constitution that works in the interest of the general public.
so we don't understand that we can interact with the government on this at that level. We can interact with the government with coming from a standpoint of leverage or power.
Yeah. See, they've abandoned the Republican call it a democracy, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
a republic is the rule of law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
a democracy is uh, legal rule, the rule of the legal rule of the society,
A legal rule.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
Republican is the rule of law,
Yeah, which is the rule of law.
right?
But
Which is based in ancient principles because all law is basically a byproduct of the ancient law. Because
mhm,
the Supreme Court, I'm gonna explain like this, and we gotta go. Um,
yeah,
the most courts are Article 3 courts,
hmm,
meaning they have a granted power given to them by the judicial branch of the government to
Congress.
handle affairs of the judicial branch of the government. Most judges, you don't refer to them as judges according to Article 3 of the
Okay.
Constitution. You refer to them as magistrates, meaning assistants to the judge.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
actual judge are the Supreme Court judges.
They're the real court
They're the
because
real judges.
they practice the rule of law.
They adhere to precedents of law, which is res judicata.
Hmm.
Res judicata meaning decisions that have already been determined. And
Hmm.
what was the other one? Res judicata and stare decisis, meaning
What's
decision that had already been made.
okay? So
Res
they look
judicata,
back.
stare decisis.
So they only look back.
Of course, they all refer to the ancient law,
Hmm.
right? And then
They
they
look
interpret.
back to.
Remember, they just interpret the law
Hmm.
because they are qualified to interpret the law.
Hmm.
Meaning, what is the law? The ancient law, the ancient precedents.
Hmm.
Do you hear that word in law? What's the precedence of this case? When they say what's the precedence of this case, how did they
Yeah.
decide in the ancient world? That's what they're
Okay.
saying. That's basically what they're saying. What's the precedence of this
Okay.
case?
Yeah.
You will hear a lot of lawyers say that. What's the
Yeah.
precedence of this case?
Yeah. What did they? Yeah. What did they say about this in the past?
Yes.
Hmm. That makes a very interesting. I, man, I'm so intrigued. This is the kind of shit where you put your ego in the pocket and you just open up your mind and your ears and you soak it in like a sponge
Right.
because you're gonna have to put like 100 sponges in your head to soak up all this shit.
Imagine what happens when you humble yourself and just allow yourself to recognize that I just don't know everything and I need to do some more research. You gain off of that process right there, that thought process. You do
Yeah.
not gain off the thought process of being offended by those who may know something more than you.
Yeah, really. I mean, yeah, I mean, you have to be upset at yourself for not acquiring or doing. I mean, the only you just have to humble yourself and say, you know what, you're someplace where I haven't been yet, so I'm all ears.
Man, I always come humble myself.
Yeah.
Always humbling myself
Hmm.
and recognizing that I have to be appreciative of new knowledge.
Yeah.
I gotta be appreciative of new knowledge because it develops me, it helps me grow. But get your last word
Hmm.
in, brother.
Well, my last words, man, this was one hell of a show. I like this show. Um, you know, and like you said, it's all about learning the rule of law, which is and the application of law. That's the key to our freedom. By us knowing this, we will be able to see through all of the bullshit and know when they're violating our rights and call them up on that. And they have to abide by that. I mean, that's what they're set up for. I mean, we don't I'm learning, that we do have a lot of power. We just haven't been applying it. There's a lot of power there for us that's already been set up. But, they some we've gone through this intermission, but now that intermission is coming to an end, and it's time for us to get back into the show and resume our parts that we had before the intermission, but on a higher level, as something new but old, and and make history. I mean, we have nowhere to go from here but up. We've come down as low as we can possibly go. Okay, how much further down can we go from
Ain't
here?
no lower. Ain't no lower to go.
Yeah, we have nowhere else to go but
But
up from. Yeah. Okay. We done it. Okay. We got the t-shirt. All right. We got the cap. All right. Shit. We've been there, done that. Now it's time for us to go and go into the unknown. Go back to where we descended from, but on the end, on the on the ascension and not on the descension.
right.
It's all up from here for us. So how can you not see that? And you know, I see it not just for me, for all of us, man. We could, we do this. Once we do this, we can create something that's never been before. We can create something that would make what the United States was over the last 200 and something years look like nothing.
Right.
Hmm.
And I don't even look at. Go ahead, my bad.
No, say it.
No, I don't.
Finish.
I don't. I don't. I don't even look at that as the uh the gauging point. Like we don't gauge it by outdoing the United States. We gonna. That's not the gauging point.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, in other words, there's no limit. There's no comparison. There's nothing that's gonna that can compare to what we can become from here, where we can go from here. There's nothing. I mean, we can look back on the ancient, but what we have in front of us potentially is just as great or even greater. It depends on us. It's all up to us, each us. We come together, A group of minds, a nation of minds. A nation is like millions of batteries coming together. And when you put a million batteries together, you know how much energy that is? Phew, man. Million brain batteries coming together. There's nothing, man. We don't know the high we can gain from that. It'll be unlike anything else. Once we see what we can do, oh my God, we'll bully the world with just our thoughts.
Right.
We have all this dark energy, this melanated energy. We put this shit together. We come together and we put this shit together under a republic, under a matriarch, the great mother. The magic would be overwhelming. So it's up to the ball is in our corner. Okay, it's up to each. It's up to each one of us. It's up all of us. So I challenge all of us, myself, you, each one of us, to come together and make this work. Come together and become a people, a nation, and move mountains together, regardless of our beliefs, regardless of what, regardless of whatever. We're all the same. We all have the same divine spark, the same energy, the kundalini, the black dot. We all have that. Okay, we all have that in common, which means we all have the ability to move mountains. Each one of us. Imagine if we bring that power together. Oh my God, we will move universes. So that's my challenge. That's my word. My last words. Speak your piece.
That was dope, brother. But also,
Thank
we have to continue to recognize who we are, because I think we lose ourselves in our identity, and we don't understand that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity, right? And with
you.
great power come great responsibility.
Mhm.
And we have to recognize, I can look, European nations know this. You can understand it. You can an example of them recognizing our greatness as a people
Mhm.
is Freemasonry, right? Because Freemasonry is just a system created to be the custodians, right? What's the highest degree of masonry?
33.
And then what do you become after 33 and 1/3? What do you become?
A Rosicrucian.
A Shriner.
Oh, oh, a Shriner. Okay.
You was right, because that's what they practice in that's the philosophy that they have when you become a Shriner.
Okay.
Rosicrucianism. Rosicrucianism,
Mhm.
right? This is evidence of the fact that that whole system was set up. Let me ask you another question.
Mhm.
Who sealed the tongues of the Masons? Who sealed their tongues? Who pinned down their feathers?
That would be the ones with the real feathers, the Moors.
They were under the orders of no. This is go greater than this. Because a lot of times things happen, right?
Mhm.
And we saying, okay, these people did this, but don't understand those people did this because there's a greater spiritual understanding of things.
And now chemical process.
Okay, that's a good word for it too.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, we thinking they're doing it on their own accord, but they're literally. operating in their cardinal nature based on spiritual um, things that have already taken place and have already been set in stone, and just fulfilling a
Okay.
prophecy, eventually fulfilling a prophecy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even recognize they are set up to be a catalyst for our rise.
Yeah.
They were set up in that net. They are
Yeah.
under orders of this vast, great process, the spiritual process that's happened. They're under that order. I'm not going to say they under art. They're under the orders of this vast process of alchemic process, this soul
Okay.
alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
They have been given a duty. They are custodians for vast knowledge to get
Well, you
transferred
can.
from to get transmitted from one generation from where we were scheduled to fall to now.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They are custodians for that knowledge. That's why their tongues is sealed.
Mm-hmm.
They can't speak what I'm saying right now
Mm-hmm.
freely in the public. They can't speak it.
Mm-mm.
They can't wear their feathers in the public like I wear my feathers in the public, and they can't wear it with it out without being pinned down. Why is
Mm.
my feathers not pinned down?
Because you're the original man.
I come from the royal bloodline of the alchemists.
Mm-hmm.
I come from the royal bloodline. We all melanated people come from the royal bloodline of the alchemists,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And that royal bloodline puts them under our order. Look at the black nobility in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's another layer of how the Moors rule over them. It ain't they.
You should. The Pope have to go kiss their feet.
The
I saw
Moors
the Pope.
look. They already kissing our feet, bro. They already kissing our feet because they owe everything to us because they know they owe everything to them. This is why they are holding their tongues. They're not
Mm-hmm.
telling us the stuff that we're learning on soul cycle alchemy because they're under our orders. They
Mm-hmm.
are recognizing and honoring us by doing this. They are recognizing and honoring us by putting us under this condition and subjugating our land and subjugating us. They're honoring us.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Because they know we're gonna come back and get it anyway.
huh?
They know them damn Moors. All they gonna do wake up and
No,
come back.
they know that they can't box with the gods.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is taking advantage while they can to
Yeah.
even live. See, the only thing the Europeans are satisfied with is just living precariously through the gods. They just want to get a glimpse.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they care about is just getting a glimpse of the
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah. Yeah. The only
They
and
can't. They
best
can't
way.
go. They can't go.
Well, they can go back to the nothingness.
Hey,
Hmm.
hey! I
That's
don't. Hey, at
and
the
that.
end of the day, I think there is somewhere where they go
Yeah. I
that
mean, that is.
eventually they developed a soul.
Hmm.
They've developed a soul as dynamic as the melanated people,
And then they have to go through
and
this
I and
slavery.
I wish that for them.
Yeah.
I wish that for them
Hmm.
that they go to a place where they can develop their souls to
Hmm.
become these immortals.
That they always dreamed of.
I mean, I
Trying to
think
be like.
the soul development of the tapestry of the universe, it gives it shows that's evidence of the fact that every soul, even imitation souls, can
Hmm.
develop their souls and become these dynamic souls.
Yeah, and because even real true souls can become so undeveloped to where they're just as no better than the semi souls.
So yeah, let me finish. Let me finish before we go. And like I say, every time we have power that we have yet to even tap into,
Hmm.
stop thinking of yourself in the inferior, right? And start
Yeah,
thinking of yourself in the superior. We spend a lot of time thinking of ourselves in the inferior. We can spend some time thinking of ourselves in the superior. Come on now. We spend a lot of time thinking of ourselves in the inferior. So don't give me that, oh, be humble and try. No, we have done a lot of that already. Now let's start thinking of ourselves as the superiors now.
and the best time to do that is when things are at their worst.
That's when we strive. That's when shit gonna come online. I
Hmm.
personally am calling it on.
Hmm.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, I
I
know,
want
because
this
that's
stuff
what's
to
gonna
come
bring it
online.
on. That's what's gonna bring it on.
Right. This stuff gonna come online, bro, and it's gonna be great. It's
Yeah.
gonna be extraordinary.
Shit, just hope we don't destroy the world.
That's part. I think that's part of all of what we're doing is the end of what we call the end of the world is actually our retribution. It's actually our revelation.
Oh, then shit, this motherfucker's about to end. And
Yes.
it's gonna be one spectacular end. If it's based on us, which it most likely is, oh, this motherfucker coming to an end.
It's the greatest show in the multiverse.
Yeah, shit.
In the multi potential verse. All right, we out here.
Okay.